Hey, good morning, everybody. It is July 21st, 2027. 2027. No, I'm a couple of
Wow.
years ahead. 2025, and the favorite time of our week because it's Mondays with Bev and Paul. Hi, everybody. My name's Paul.
Oh, good morning, Mrs. Bev.
That was
In
time travel.
2025.
It's interesting because I just wrote 2027
I
because
know, I
we
know
have a
mine.
new certified practitioner in
Yes.
Switzerland, Agnes
Yay.
Noef, I think it is, and we just certified her today with Michaela, who's the German connection, and
Yep.
Agnes she knew all the points perfectly.
She's
So
gonna be great. Oh, I'm
yeah.
so excited, right?
Yep. So BioTouch is growing, and we honor Agnes's work and the work that she sees. She actually created a little manual for her people that has color codes and all kinds of
Oh
things.
yeah,
So,
she's
it's neat to see how people are creatively using BioTouch to teach other people. So,
exactly.
let
Yep.
us know how we can help you teach others BioTouch. And today we wanted to talk about was I was doing my old TikToks and videos and stuff, and this interview came up, so I looked it up on YouTube of Carl Jung. And I think it must have been in the 50s or something. He
Yeah.
did this interview
Oh,
about
yeah.
empaths. And as I listened to this 20-minute discussion with him, I'm like, well, biotouch, biotouch. I mean, every next line he said was biotouch. So we sort of wanted to go over a little of that. Um, it's a term we're hearing more and more recently.
Yeah.
But let's go over some of the things he talked about, like taking on the pain of others, or the need to be needed, or the desire to fix others. He said, uh, and what's we're going to try and show here is again, how BioTouch is an empowering alternative. It's what when I was talking to Chat GPT about it, it's touch without agenda, presence without burden.
Ooh, wow.
Another little ditty there, and but first we were talking about how you were saying in the beginning that in a sense we're all empaths, yeah.
Yes. I mean, we've got to stop this. I'm more special than everybody else. BioTouch says and holds a lot of truth in everything that we talk about, everything that is, that we are all capable of meeting each other in that space, that present moment. We are all empathic. What that means is we have this innate sense of connection between us, and we are all innately able to practice biotouch
Right.
without feeling. Biotouch says you're not responsible for another person's health. You're just choosing to be in that space with them to witness their journey. And when you bring a relationship into being, it's a shared thing. That doesn't mean that you take on the burden of feeling people's emotional stuff. For one thing, what do we say? BioTouch doesn't address anything but the body,
Right.
just the body, just touch the body. All the other stuff will happen in its own time. This is what that self awareness is. It's that person's self awareness. It's their journey. So, yeah, we're all innately sensitive to each other.
So that was part of what Carl Jung was talking about. He was specifically back in those days talking about the empathic nature of what people feel, what he called sensitive people who feel overwhelmed by others' emotions, thinking it's their job to help, heal, or save. And he goes on, he says, it's not that others are dangerous, it's that our need to be needed can be the most dangerous.
Wow.
you know so it's the absorption that others pains become my pain, and so he talked about, when we heal ourselves, we stop absorbing pain and start transforming it. He talked about, and I thought about E. Haleakala with Ho'oponopono in Hawaii, and I met him,
Like,
and and I never forget sitting in his class that he was having. I just happened to stumble upon it, and he has the group. Well, there's 30, 40 people there, all healers, you know,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he says to them, so he says, who's got a physical problem? And I raised my hand. I love raising my hand. I walked to the front of the room. He says, okay, Paul, what do you have there? He says, I said, I have a back problem. So he turns to the class and he says, okay, Paul comes in. He says he has a back problem. What's the questions you're going to ask him? And everybody's like, oh, when did you get it? Or what did you do? Or what does it hurt? And, all these questions. And after a few minutes, E. Haleakala says, none of you got it. None of you got it. He says, Paul's pain and problem is not with Paul, it's with you.
Woo. Wow.
And his whole teaching was he put this whiteboard up there and he put all these little X's up there. He says, our job as people who do so-called healing work is to erase what he called the blips. And he started erasing all these X's until he finally had a clean slate. He said, our goal is to clean our slate. And when we do that, we will then be given what the situation calls for.
Mm-hmm.
Not what
Mm-hmm.
that person needs, that other so-called person. What does the situation call for? And I thought, well, that's BioTouch.
Yeah.
We're not trying to heal people. People come in with a certain pain. We just touch. And we let the situation do our enhancements, our local work, the next set we're going to do. So it's sort of the same thing here, that as ChatGPT said, BioTouch, you can't get people's stuff doing BioTouch because it's structurally safe.
Which brings up another situation that has been happening for a long time, that there are people who believe that, they call it vibes or positive, negative stuff or whatever they want to call it. But it's basically a fear of that happens with a sense of being separated from other people. Because there are certain so-called healers that have to protect themselves and the space. When this other entity walks into their space and they have to that's not healing. That is separateness. And if you really think that you have to protect yourself, you're in the wrong business, because this is what has happened. This is why we're in the space we are right now as humanity. We have bought into the lie or illusion that there's me and then there's you. There's us and then there's them. Well, every time you have that thought, you are creating a bigger and bigger gap between us. BioTouch says there is no separation. It never has been a separation. And it requires two people to come together to practice it. And nothing is required.
Right.
Nothing. Not one thing is required except those two fingers and a love within your heart to help another human being, to just be present with them. I'm not even, I don't think we're even helping them. That's not the right word.
No.
So if you just step up and you just be, how many times have you said, well, when you're talking about your experience in Hawaii, how many times have you said, every single time the right person, the right recipient will come to you for your awareness.
Correct.
For your self-awareness. It's about getting rid of our blips, as he said.
And that's the beauty of it. And so if we want to call that being empathic, then that's perfect. So how do we use that empathic sense, that feeling sense, and how do we let that unfold? It's sort of one of the things I learned from Carl Jung's thing too. Yeah, just like you said, it's about being present. It's not about merging. or withdrawing.
Right.
It's just about being present to the, yeah, and I sort of like the idea of the situation. What's happening here for me, for that so-called other. We can say, oh well, that's not real, or it's sort of the old thing of, well, it's not real, but if I try to walk through that wall, I get a bloody nose.
Right.
So yeah, there's the other, there's the me, but what's the lesson for all of us? And if I take responsibility, as you were talking about, if I take my personal responsibility, then points will come to me. And BioTouch just lets us, as Bev was just saying, be present. I don't have to figure it out. I don't even have to get the manual out. Those points are just a beginning.
Yeah.
We say to people that creative art, we talked a couple of weeks ago about that,
Yeah.
of BioTouch, points will come to you. You will start painting your own picture with each new person that you come in contact with.
Yeah. They're a blank slate, aren't they?
A blank slate, yes.
Yeah.
They might
Yes.
come in with a particular ailment, but like
Yep.
Iali Akala says, that ain't their problem.
Right.
Erase that blip in you. He was a great one,
Yeah.
and so was Carl Jung talking about this. I mean,
Yeah,
it's too bad
for
we
sure.
couldn't have shared BioTouch with Carl Jung.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Because we've had many psychotherapists. We have that great on our website on trauma, that presentation by Jenny Garner, who talked about how important that touch, that presence of BioTouch is for trauma work. Instead
Absolutely.
of fearing working with, it doesn't matter whether it's schizophrenic or, it doesn't matter.
PTSD, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and any kind of trauma work, just being present with that light touch and doing that A&A, just that A&A,
Yeah.
which,
Oh, I remember what she was saying about that.
right, how our
Yeah.
our back lobe
Frontal
and the front
lobe and
lobes are
yeah.
disconnected, and we don't
Yeah.
know where we are in time and space. So BioTouch helps us not fear that anymore. If I'm working with somebody and I don't know what to do, just do the greeting. I work with some people here at the center, and if they're just in a chaotic situation in their life, I see the minute I can do the greeting and start to do the headset, there's this
Body and the
the
breath in
body,
the body.
yes, it relaxes,
Yeah.
you know. And people always say, oh, you have to be careful who you let touch you, who work on you too. I've been doing this for 35 years, and we were just talking about that. I guess I could be called an expert in the field of
Yeah,
biotouch.
yeah, yeah. I think you're there.
Do I worry about who's going to do biotouch on me? No. So long as they do the greeting, there's no worry. I'm not worried about getting people's stuff, or them projecting their bad juju onto me.
Right. I think one of the greatest gifts, if you really think about it, the biotouch, not just the bodies get better and people feel more cared for, but biotouch takes helps us to step out of that personality ego. The personality ego that says, this is real. Okay? Because it breaks down just with that touch all the barriers within ourselves, not just between the practitioner and the recipient, but within each of us and our own journeys. You don't have to, when you're not preoccupied with that little monkey mind that says, oh, how, am I going to get this stuff? And am I doing enough? And I'm on and on and on. And you even say all the time, well, come on, you could be think about everything else, having a crappy day. And once you start touching, you're right there. So it has the power to break that for us. And what a gift to be able in the moment to just be with another human being. Just be. Without any agenda, without any worries, without, anything that's going on outside of ourselves. We're just present in the moment. That's
Yeah.
the eternal now that we've been talked about for eons of time. All the great masters, all just be in the eternal now. There is no past, there is no future, on and on. So it bears repeating that that is what BioTouch is able to do for all of us in that relationship.
And I, I can't even tell you. BioTouch is definitely profound and very much ready to be part of
Yes.
humanity. I mean, it used to be you had to find a teacher or a guru, or you had to run to this part of the planet and do this, and put on a sarong or sarape, you wear a special hat, have a special mantra, do a special position in order to think that you were opening up all these different energy, and all those are good little practices, but it just feels like humanity as a whole, the billions of people on this planet, are ready to come into being present with one another, to be just loving, caring individuals. And
Well,
BioTouch
I will
gives us that
say,
chance.
I will say, every single one of us is the guru and the teacher. Every one of us. That is who we truly are. That's who we really are. All this other fluff is just the outside of the little ego that has to posturize itself. If BioTouch helps us to get to the root of who we truly are, okay? And when you are in a moment, when you are just present and offering love with that touch, that's who we are. That is who we truly are. We're all the gurus. We're all all of us are teachers. We're all empaths. We're all psychic. That's another word for soul. We're all the same. The moment that we remember, really know, and the light bulb goes on and we remember that we are here together, that is when, I said it before, we're going to heal, truly heal. And BioTouch is already cutting edge, and we're here waiting, holding this for those who are ready to find it.
So hold it with us. The index and middle finger of each hand lightly touching some points on the body. Go to justtouch.com and you can learn it on your own. You can contact us at office@justtouch.com. We're here to pass it on. We're not here to share anything new. We're here to pass on BioTouch. As ChatGPT said at the end of our little discussion, BioTouch is embodying wholeness, not fixing others. So thank you for joining us. We'll see you all next week. Don't forget, we do have if you're here in Tucson, we have a class coming up August 9th and 10th. Otherwise, we have a workshop coming up Thursday on weight loss. This is going to be very interesting. The whole idea of weight gain and how to have weight loss consciously, and how to use BioTouch for that situation. So, Thank you, Bev. That was a great little talk.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, everyone, for being here.
And we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Days in and days out, space and time is all about feeling pressure with the pain, in sunshine or in the rain. Living is a place in mind, giving is being kind, and the pain is too much. What we need is BioTouch. When I'm touching you, you are touching me. It's a simple thing to do and a natural way to be.